Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. And another memory from when I was a kid. I remember stores used to be around called Ben Franklin. It was a variety store. It sold arts and crafts, toys, all kinds of various things. I do specifically remember one in Baldwin, Missouri when we lived there. So I decided to do a little research and see if Ben Franklin stores are still around. There actually are some left. Surprisingly, I didn't think they were, but they're headquartered in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. Their products are mainly crafts, so it's mainly a craft store now. When I saw one about 30 or 40 years ago, that's pretty much what the stores were. A chain of five and dimes arts and craft stores found primarily in small towns around the United States. Last owned by Promotions Unlimited of Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. They're organized using a franchise system, individual stores owned by independent proprietors. It was perhaps the first retail franchise started in 1927, named after the inventor Ben Franklin, who invented electricity. And they adopted a saying that he had was a penny saved is a penny earned. Although Promotions Unlimited filed for bankruptcy in 2017, a number of stores continue to operate under the Ben Franklin name. Chain originated in Boston, 1877's Butler Brothers, a mail-order wholesaler selling general and variety store items. Butler Brothers, at the turn of the century, had over 100,000 customers in the United States. As variety stores were penetrating their market, the company founded the Ben Franklin chain in 1927, which was sold in 1959. At Ben Franklin's peak, the chain had 2,500 stores nationwide. The chain functioned largely as a wholesaler of variety and craft merchandise sold to its franchisees under the Ben Franklin Retail Stores Incorporated. Early 1990s, it began opening its own stores. Those stores were not successful, and their financial problems ultimately interfered with the chain's ability to deliver goods to its franchisees. 860 locally owned stores in 47 states. The company went bankrupt and closed these stores in 1996, 1997. And what I was reading too, that a lot of the Ben Franklin stores were in smaller towns. I do remember there being a Ben Franklin store in Fairfax, Virginia, and I remember going inside of it, and it was mainly an arts and crafts store by then. I heard there was one in Alexandria too. I don't think I ever went to that one. Promotions Unlimited stepped in as a supplier for many Ben Franklin franchises during the corporation's descent into bankruptcy. It acquired the name of the chain in 1997. The old corporate entity was moving into Chapter 7. It continued operating as a distributor, servicing individual franchises and advertising products sold through direct mail services and newspaper inserts. Promotions Unlimited provides similar advertising and promotional services for thousands of other retail stores unaffiliated with Ben Franklin stores. Promotions Unlimited went bankrupt in 2017. Despite the bankruptcy, several stores across the United States continue to operate under the Ben Franklin name. And that was what I was able to find out on Ben Franklin stores, a little history of it off the internet. And I do remember going to the stores, and I do remember as a kid the toys that it sold, and that was attractive to me. And I don't know if Walmart so much hurt Ben Franklin. It probably did to a point, probably not as much as it hurt other retail chains like Kmart and Woolworths. Ben Franklin's store was probably about roughly the same size as a Woolworths, I would imagine. that the Ben Franklins did not have lunch counters. At least I don't remember one ever having one. And there was another chain back in the 70s that didn't last as long. It was called W.T. Grant. That was similar to Woolworths. That's long gone. But a lot of retail chains did not survive when Walmart just really started making changes and really modernizing their stores. And the only one I really know of that's still around and giving Walmart competition that I can think off the top of my head is Target. And when I came to Northern Virginia in 1976, there were no Walmarts or Targets in the area. Walmart came into the area probably about the mid 1990s, and Target followed soon after. And that basically was what I remember about that. And like I said, looking for ideas on shows to do in the future. Shows about preserving history, especially obscure aspects of history. Some aspects not as obscure as others. And with that being said, like, subscribe, share as always. Thanks for watching.